And so to shed some light on this, I thought maybe we should go to Jonathan Alter, who, as you know, is the senior editor for Newsweek magazine. And I heard you speaking about it last night, and I sort of felt better, Jonathan, when I heard you speaking about it. So I thought maybe you could make me feel better about it today. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Randy?
I miss you like crazy. I really do. But I got to tell you, this is one position of Obama's that I don't like, and I hope that he gets elected and then flip-flops on this one thing. Just on this one thing would be good.
Well, I think he indicated there by talking about the Inspector General that if he's president, he's going to rummage around in the dirty linen of the Bush administration and reopen some of these cans of worms. And I think everybody wants more light shed on exactly how the Constitution was violated. And suing the telcos, the telephone companies, is only one way of doing that.
Okay.
The whole idea behind those lawsuits was to use the discovery process in civil cases to obtain information about how they shredded the Constitution. There are other ways of doing that. And Randy, I think that the thing that's been missed, and there's been a tremendous amount of liberal outrage about this, reflects a misunderstanding of what has happened in the last 10 months. And
this is the part I like, so say it really well.
What?
This is the part I like, so say it really well.
Okay.
All right.
Basically, what happened is that late last summer, in August, when everybody was on vacation, the Congress, the congressional leadership, was presented with this scary report that the Capitol was going to get bombed by terrorists. Okay, so they rushed through this legislation when nobody was looking. It basically repealed the Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution and said that temporarily the president had the authority to eavesdrop without a warrant, which is in flat violation of the Constitution. Okay, and so they agreed to let him continue to eavesdrop so that presumably so that we couldn't get bombed. And I think they got conned into this. And the idea was that they'd come back and fix it later. They said that they would fix it when Congress came back in January, but it took them all the way till June to come up with a bill. So for the last 10 months, we've been living in an unconstitutional country where you can spy at the president's direction on anybody at any time without going to court. Okay?
Yeah.
That is an outrageous state of affairs. So the question that people have to answer, and that I think Obama did, and it's a close call, and I oppose immunity for the telephone companies, is the interest in getting a bill that restores the Fourth Amendment, that says that, as this bill does, that the FISA courts are back in business, that the watchers, the eavesdroppers, will be watched by an independent court, as they have been for many, many years until 9/11, is getting that worth losing this ability to sue telephone companies? And I believe that it is, because the constitutional principle here relates to the FISA court. It does not relate to people suing telephone companies. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense to me. This is why I wanted to come from your mouth. If it comes from mine, then I'm cowering, because I think he's the Messiah, and I'm cowering, and I'm letting him do this because I'm like in a cult or something. But if it comes from a journalist, maybe it explains somewhat to some people that he's reserved some rights to prosecute criminally, and in fact, allow civil suits to go forward if somebody was harmed, by a warrantless wiretap. And it also restores the Constitution, which has not been in working order, 10 months. Some people would argue it's been 7.5 years, but
yeah, there's nothing to prevent a Democratic Congress next year from
reversing it.
lifting the immunity provision
Right.
in a separate piece of legislation.
Well, see, now this is what I said at first because I hadn't had a chance to read the whole thing, the whole bill. And it's like I said, today there was a Supreme Court decision about guns. And so now that we can have guns, I'll just shoot my own BlackBerry is what I'll do, is what I'm going to do. But when you read the Supreme Court decision, it's easy to read. I mean, it's written well. You got to give the Supreme Court that. I mean, they write well. Scalia is a great writer. I mean, I disagree with him on almost everything, but he's a fabulous writer. But when I tried to read this telecom bill, I just thought I was an idiot until I spoke to a few very, very well read, I spoke to John Dean and Jonathan Turley. They're brilliant lawyers. And they said this was the sloppiest thing. They couldn't even read it. It's a bizarre piece of legislation. It's been slapped together, and but you're right. It does have an inspector general in there, and it does force the president to go to the FISA court.
It's a badly drawn piece of legislation.
Oh, it's so bad.
I don't want people to think I'm defending the bill.
Well, better you than me, my friend.
You can't make the perfect be the enemy of the good. And at a certain point when you're a legislator, you have to vote for poorly drawn bills all the time, because the alternative right now is not a good bill that you and I would like. The alternative is to do nothing. Now, maybe that's what, Russ Feingold, and I respect him tremendously.
Yes, it's not
basically the filibuster idea is let's just do nothing until next January when, one hopes there's Democratic president and Democratic Congress. The problem with that is that perpetuates an unconstitutional America. And I just think that argument has not been heard enough, and that it's true that the bill is badly drawn, but it does very clearly restore the FISA court, and that is essential that we have that court in there.
Yeah.
Essential.
I can see both sides of it, although it's such an affront to me that that all of this has gone on. God only knows who's got what forever. Who's going to take what information about which person, whether it's a political enemy, whether it's, just a person you don't like, whether it's, attorney-client privileged communications,
That's why you have to, that's what the FISA court is for, even though, the bill is loosens their ability to oversee the eavesdropping so that, you can wait a week before you go to the FISA court, but at least you have to go to the court. Right now, as things stand right now, there is no check at all on the Bush administration's ability to eavesdrop. So the question, again, it is a close call, and I've, just so that we're clear on, my feelings about Obama. I mean, I've been very critical of him in recent days on this Muslim thing. So this is not about me, deferring to Obama's view on this. It's about,
well, at least he apologized for the headscarves not being allowed in his photo op.
But he didn't.
And
he's been clear. He should go to a mosque. I mean, he's being defensive on this, and I think it's unfortunate. But just on this FISA business, the other thing that you do have to do in a human way is you do have to say, if you had the misfortune, Randy, to be a telephone company executive on September 12th, 2001, and the president called you up and said you got to do this, to protect us from being attacked again, you probably would have.
No, I'll tell you exactly what I would have done. I would have said, get me a warrant. I have shareholders to protect, even if I didn't give a rat's ass about the Fourth Amendment.
Company, I can't remember which one did that.
Oh, it was the one in Denver.
There was one that did it. But,
yeah.
So, in other words, am I defending them? No. Do I believe they should have immunity from civil suits and from prosecution? No. But do I think that corner of this whole situation overshadows the basic idea of the Fourth Amendment? No. I mean, you've got to kind of keep the perfect from being the enemy of the good. Now, in this case, it's the perfect shouldn't be the enemy of the okay, because I don't think it's right, to call this bill good.
No, it's not.
But it is okay, and the perfect shouldn't be the enemy of the okay. Absent some other way of dealing with it. Now, I guess you could make the argument, that maybe scuttling the whole bill will force the Congress to
write a better
act
one
more responsibly. But that's not what happened last August, and the Democrats controlled Congress last August. I think the closer we get to an election, the worse the bill would be. So basically, Democrats should just take this, pass it, and vow, as Clinton did when it came to reopening welfare reform, so that it treated people with food stamps better. He said when he signed welfare reform, this is insufficient. It's an inadequate bill. It doesn't protect people enough, but I'm going to sign it and then revisit it later. And he did.